what is the difference between this then freedom and swatantrata?
Yeah. So, freedom means generally interpreted as I am free to do whatever I want to do, right. If you look at swatantrata, right, I am free to do, right, what leads to harmony within myself and in harmony with others.
So, in relationship what would that mean?
Yeah. So, that would mean that I live with feelings which is fulfilling for me, which leads to harmony within myself and which also leads to harmony with the other. So, for example, the feeling of trust leads to harmony within myself because it is naturally acceptable to me, and when I express this feeling of trust, it leads to harmony in the other, right. That is the meaning of mutual happiness. So, swatantrata means I want to be in a state which is naturally acceptable to me, and I am in a state which is naturally acceptable to me. That is the meaning of swatantrata. So, I have the freedom to be in a state which is naturally acceptable to me, and when we try to investigate, we find that what is naturally acceptable to me is also naturally acceptable to the other. For example, this feeling of trust is naturally acceptable to me and feeling of trust is naturally acceptable to the other. Therefore, I can have this feeling of trust in me, share this feeling with the other, it will lead to my happiness as well as happiness of the other. This is swatantrata, right. Freedom may mean I am open, if I feel like trusting others, I trust others. If I feel like distrusting others, I distrust others. If I feel like respecting others, I respect others. If I feel like disrespecting others, I disrespect others, right. That is the meaning of freedom. So, freedom may not lead to your satisfaction as well as the satisfaction of the other, fulfillment of the other, but swatantrata will always lead to your fulfillment and also the fulfillment of the other. Today, because we have not understood this swatantrata, this self organization, right, we somewhere get fed up with the kind of domination from outside, and we end up thinking in terms of freedom, that is freedom to do whatever we feel like doing, whether it is right or wrong, whether it leads to harmony or disharmony. So, most of the time it tends to revolt against the domination in this society, but does it lead to self organization? Does it lead to larger organization? No, that is not very sure, not very clear at least. So, if you look at the tradition today, I mean look at the society today, so many revolts are taking place, but these revolts, are they leading to some better harmony in the society?
Problems are only increasing.
Yeah. So, problems are increasing. So, that is the meaning of freedom today. But if you take it swatantrata, it will mean that I understand the self organization of myself and also ultimately the self organization of the other and everything, and then I am living in that self organization, leading to fulfillment within myself, and I can also become a source of fulfillment for the other. That is what we are saying right from the beginning, that ultimately what do I want? Continuity of happiness. And for continuity of happiness, what do I need to do? Is to understand the harmony and live in harmony, because being in harmony is happiness. And therefore, I need to understand the harmony starting from myself, human being, to family, society, nature and existence, and I have to live in harmony at each of these levels. If I am doing this, I am in a state of happiness, continuous happiness, that is the state of swatantrata. When I am in that state, I am also in harmony with everybody else. So, it is leading to harmony with everyone else. So, harmony within and harmony outside, right. That is the meaning of swatantrata. This is not being independent, this is being interdependent, right. This is being interdependent, related to the other in a mutually fulfilling manner, ultimately related to the whole existence, the whole nature, the existence in a mutually fulfilling manner. That is how we want to be, that is what is naturally acceptable to us, not being isolated. No isolation is possible.
But sir, in India, in tradition, A major school of thought was this key. You need to be alone or not to attach to someone or in expectation with anyone to
See,
you
if
to
you
win continuous happiness or moksha and kind of this.
see in India there are two types of traditions. Okay, one is called Rishi Parampara, and one is Sannyas Parampara.
Yeah.
Okay, so the major part of Indian tradition is Rishi Parampara, which says that you have to understand the Rit. Rit means the basic underlying harmony in nature, the basic underlying laws of nature, Rit. That is the meaning of Rishi. Rishi means the one who knows this Rit, and then you have to live in harmony, right. So, that is the main kind of parampara. Rishi parampara is the main parampara. Last 4,000 of years you have this, not even 4,000, 2,500 years roughly, that we have this sannyas parampara also as a main part of the system. Okay. Before you are supposed to take sannyas after 75 years of age, but at one point of time it was said that why get through all this of and then try to seek the truth, why not involve yourself to seek the truth directly. If things are very messy, you are in mud, okay, first walk out of the mud, okay, clean yourself, okay, then you may probably get back to the mud and help them, other human beings, other people, right. So, this is a kind of temporary arrangement, saying that if there is so much of mud in this society and you are also part of the mud, okay, it is better to move out for some time, clean yourself, okay, purify yourself, have the solution to what to do, and then get back to the society, right. So, that is what is meant. I mean, Buddha for example is the one person who started giving sannyas to the young children, okay. That is how the sannyas parampara begins. He was there to find out the truth, and to clean himself and all that, and when he thought that he has found the truth, he came back to the society and he served for 45 years, day and night, moving from one place to the other, from one group to the other group. 45 years he spent doing this. So, he was not in isolation all his life, right, few years, okay, he was there in isolation or trying to explore into things himself, but even then he was either interacting with some other seekers or with the masters and so on. But that was a temporary thing. What we are saying is that today we are anyway giving enough time and space in education, right. We are spending 15 to 20 years, at least 10 years, to 15 years for every child in education and sanskar, right. Why not do this during this process of education and sanskar? This understanding part, understanding the what is right and practicing living according to what is right, that can be done during this process of education and sanskar, during this 10 to 15 years, which every child is now spending anyway. So, without going to exclusion, to isolation, okay, which was not even isolation that time, but without doing this, if this education and sanskar, which is anyway providing enough opportunity to the child for 10 to 15 years for doing this exploration, right, why not do that, why not use that 10 to 15 years, okay, to ensure this right understanding, the right feeling, the right living, yeah. So, do it that way, and this you can do while you are in interaction with other children, you are in interaction with the teacher, you are in interaction with the family, with all that you can do this, because ultimately every child wants to understand what is right, and do what is right, and that is his set of mind, he wants to understand what is right and he wants to do what is right. That is why he is trying to imitate you, follow you, take your discipline, and ultimately explore himself to get into self discipline.